guys, it's Jacob from Stringbuzz here, stringbuzzworld.org being a music journalism site, links in the description down below. And this is a bit of a different type of video. It's still a discursive type topic, but it's more of a news statement as well, and that is music facing extinction in UK schools. So I'm going to refer to the original article I put up yesterday, so I hope you enjoy. After doing a little research, I'm finding out just a little bit more about this subject in particular. I must admit it is a very worrying time here for music in particular in the UK in the education system. After recently completing my extended education, which included taking A-levels in music theory and music composition, I must admit I agree with the overall consensus that music is dying in schools, if it's not already dead in most schools in the UK. If you add together all the students I was in music class with from 3 schools that I attended and 6 different musical based subjects, which I actually did throughout my educational life, I guess you could say, you'd have around enough musicians in those classes to fill just over one class, I'd say, or one average class anyway over here in the UK. Now, I don't think that's down to the teaching or even the lack of interest from potential students. I just think it's personally down to an absolute dinosaur of a curriculum that is no longer relevant in the modern music landscape. People are no longer turning to any music classes anymore because they don't teach you anything about what you need to break into the music industry today, which is a beast that is ever evolving from year to year. I know a lot of people like to coin phrases like that around other subjects such as English and etc., but none are more obvious than GCSE music or A-level music to me. In a study made by researchers from Sussex University School of Education and Social Work, they found that just 47% of students even take one singular art in their GCSEs anymore. That's less than half of students divided out between subjects such as drama, dance, art, photography, textiles, graphics, and music. Out of those subjects, music is by far the most costly to run, in my opinion. By far the hardest subject to consistently maintain with the quality of students in the class, and as I went on to say here, the subject with the students with the highest ranging abilities, and hence why it is very obviously one which is being overlooked by many schools. I must admit, I had a hard time in music classes growing up, struggling with equipment that was often faulty or just not qualitative enough to actually carry through the tasks you're given, around students who ranged massively in ability, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, it's just that everybody was so out of range of each other that it made performing as part of groups or doing group tasks almost impossible at times, and around teachers who are often stressed out about time scaling and monetary values rather than people actually achieving their grades. It was always money first. It got to the point where as a 15 or 16-year-old student I was more worried about the subject being cut rather than actually achieving my grades, which is not something you really want to be worrying about. It's a bit of a strange one really, looking back at my time in school and how it impacted my music career up to this point. I mean, I could go through every single detail, but that would just be boring if I'm totally honest with you. All you really need to know is I managed to achieve 4 different music qualifications from GCSE to A-level, but none of them really mean anything. I mean, none of them have any importance to them whatsoever, and even other people in the industry don't look at them as being that important or crucial to getting those job roles, and none of them I could even cite as being particularly helpful towards my development in music either, because I learned the majority of what I know today from just background research, what I did in my free time. I think that's largely down to a supreme overriding feeling that music was often a burden to schools which I attended. Anyone outside of the music classroom sort of looked down on music as a subject, especially below many other subjects which you'd think were on its same level. Of the people in the classroom, most saw the subject as completely polarizing as well, so even the people in the classroom didn't necessarily want to be there. Stats also tell a resoundingly sad story here all around the music education system here in the UK. I mean, the BBC published a couple stats fairly recently, such as in 30% of secondary schools, the music department consisted of just 1 teacher, and that's up from 22% just 5 years ago. That's a big percentage climb, I guess you could say, in just 5 years in a small amount of time. And when you consider from GCSE to A-levels, that's just 4 years, and there's about 7 or 8 music classes that could be running at any particular day. I mean, that mathematically just doesn't add up on one's shoulders, and that's not including the rest of the secondary school years. So yeah, it just mathematically doesn't add up, so no wonder is it such a burden on the teacher, as well as a lot of stress and why it's put to one side. Growing up, music is only compulsory in 62% of schools, and and that's a drop of 18% in just 5 years. Again, a huge drop in just such a small amount of time, I guess you could say. And 62% is only just above, if we're totally honest here, 50%. So yeah, that's nearly 1 in 2 schools even offer music anymore. So is it any wonder? The amount of schools offering music BTEC level 2, which is a qualification I got on the side to my other music qualifications, fell from 166 in 2012 and 2013 to just 50 in 2016 and 2017. That's a drop of 100 schools in 1 year, or rather 5 years, I guess you could say, but for, a 1 or 2 year qualification. And these huge declines are happening in such short spaces of time, which is the scariest part. I mean, it's all happened within the space of one secondary school life. I mean, if you joined secondary school at year 7 in, say, 2012, and now you're in your GCSE/A-level year in 2016 and 2017, you've seen this massive decline in one secondary school career, I guess you could say. From personal experience, I do think that music is on the brink of extinction when it comes to education here in the UK, and I think that's a great shame, and I think a lot of people are going to miss out on a subject which I initially loved, the first sort of few months or so, and the friends I made throughout these classes, and the things I did learn on the side, especially in the BTEC. I'm not talking so much about the A-level I did or the GCSE I did, but I learned a lot of things that are important now, and perhaps they're not important when it comes to job roles and stuff, but I think a lot of people be missing out on a key time, on a key growing period as a musician, and things you wouldn't tend to be able to do anywhere else. So I think it's a huge shame, and I don't really have a happy ending to this story. So if you like this video, then please leave a like, comment what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what the music systems are like in, say, other countries around the world. Subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye-bye.